Alrighty, let's go. Welcome back into episode 2 of the Trade Room, and today I am going to give you 7 players to avoid starting in NRL Supercoach for 2026. So these are the guys that look really nice on paper, but you should really avoid starting with these players. That definitely scream trap 100% to start the year. Don't get me wrong, it's just my opinion, just by the research I've done, they could honestly go gangbusters. But I look at the numbers and the situation with the team, I think these could be traps heading into this year. I said I've got 7 for you. The first episode, the team reveal, has gone absolute gangbusters. I cannot thank you guys all enough. It's really progressed my channel. I cannot wait to bring you this more and more every single week, leading up to the start of the season, which is literally 4 freaking weeks away. I am busting with excitement for Vegas. No, I'm not going, by the way. And preseason starts next weekend when I film this. Footy is in 1 week. You can see the smile on my face. You know, you tinker around with Supercoach, you might like so much, and your team, and you watch so much cricket, and then we've got the tennis on at the moment. Then it finally gets to the good stuff where we've got footy back. I'm just so freaking excited. Just seeing like normality. You could just see the smile on my face. Like, it's just so bloody good. But without further ado, if you like the episode, remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for weekly episodes of the Trade Room as well. I'm going to be doing your NRL weekly reviews as well. I'm going to think about doing a preview sort of show as well. So still in the midst of how to sort of work that out going to season. But as I said about last week, if you're someone that's interested in doing Supercoach content, or you're new to Supercoach like content, or you have been, and you want to do it, like you want to partner up with a show for someone, like I'm happy to do like another show with someone, like, and get one onto mine as well. I feel like I've got it kind of set up the way that I wanted to now, to present it in a really good way. But it'd be so good to obviously have like someone that I could chat to like over a laptop, over camera, and have a bit of banter with as well, and discuss, you know, trades, captaincy options, pods, that sort of thing as well. So it would be freaking awesome as well, to, like I said, partner up with someone for not just this year, but potentially in the future as well. A lot of the shows I watch, you know, massive shout out to like, yeah, Guru and Timmy, like Beers and Break Evens, like SC Playbook, Insight Fantasy. They do really good stuff, and I feel like a big part of that is definitely when they partner up together. But you've also got me doing it solo, so I think I provided a lot of value here as well. But nothing me rambling on. Let's get in 7 players to avoid starting. I've tried to go for kind of in that one per position. Hooker is a bit of an open gasket, I think, this year, but tried to give you close to 1 in each position. But our first one, straight off the bat, a lot of people will be sort of, he had come off a fly year, and that is going to be Terrell May from the West Tigers there in the front row forward. 811k there. Currently 7.9% owned, and coming off easily his career best year. First year at the Tigers last year, starting in that front row forward, and you'll see that he played every single game last year. He didn't play any Origin. 24 games, he averaged 73 minutes a game. Do you know how absurd that is for a front row forward in this modern generation? He was an absolute tank. He was unbelievable last year, and he averaged 83, and that was only scored 1 try as well. You know, not like Payne Haas where he scored like in multiple tries. 65 in base, you know, going at 1.14 point per minute, 17 evade. So evade, if you're new to Supercoach, evade is like line breaks, tackle breaks, offloads, kind of that sort of thing as well. Base is purely just like the tackles you make and the runs that you make as well contribute in just a really solid number there. So generally a front row forward is going to have quite a lot of base, or you hope to have a lot of base. The evade is, you know, if they break a lot of tackles, or maybe they get that odd line break here and there, or even offloads as well. That was a big part of the reason Payne Haas was able to have higher scores, last year. In your create is definitely for you. Obviously, you're more of your backs, like you're in your halves sort of situation. Try assists, line break assists, try contributions, that sort of thing. But I said he only averaged 83 last year with only 1 try, and base is absolute killer and evade there. So base and power, which we put into like that evade sort of thing there, 82 points on average there. And it's just, the main thing for Terrell May is he's got a first round bye. So if you're someone that's looking to start with Terrell May, you're going to have to go through that round one there with an 800k player on your bench. I feel like there's someone where you can definitely best spend it somewhere else, 100%. My big worry for Terrell May, I have no doubt he's going to have another stellar season. It's the fact that he played 73 minutes a game last year. And does Benji actually do that again with Terrell May? Terrell May knows that he can do that. But to start the season as well, does he want to work him into the season? How can he actually, if you're looking at that number, you're banking on 80 average again, and you're literally banking on Terrell May playing another 70 plus minutes every single week as well. Maybe getting that odd try, like maybe you think he gets more tries this year, like second year syndrome kind of thing. But I thought he was like reached his absolute ceiling last year. I thought he was unbelievable. Literally started the year, I think, 600k for the Tigers, and points per minute when he was at the Roosters was obviously a lot higher. That makes sense. He's coming off the bench, or he's playing a lot less minutes there. But you really got to be relying on Terrell May to play the same amount of minutes, if not actually more, to actually even try and make cash or get your money's worth there. I just think there's a lot better options in your front row. I think you've got someone like Payne Haas that you know can actually turn up and be a safe captaincy option every single week. Or you can kind of split it, spend 300k less, get someone like a Toby Catchman in. Maybe you want someone like a Jermaine Hopgood in or something like that. And then you got 300k elsewhere to go spend it if need be. For me, I'd rather spend the extra 40k and just go get Payne Haas. So yeah, first play on the list to avoid the season, Terrell May. Crossing over to your next one from Newcastle in the 5'8 position. That's going to be Fletcher Sharp here. Now, Fletcher Sharp coming off an absolute career year again last year. So you'll probably notice with a lot of these, if they're coming off a career year last year, career best year, you got to think, if you're new Supercoach, their price is at the highest pretty much it can be really to start the next season, right? They're coming off like they were 730k during the season. They're going to be around that sort of same echelon to start the next season. I'm not saying he doesn't do the same thing again like in 2026, but generally you see players start a little bit slower there. And again, you're banking on, again, similar sort of average again. He had a shortened year. He did get injured for the back half of the year. But you look at his stats here, 730k. He's only 2% owned. Played 14 games, 11 tries in those 14 games. I think he definitely had a hat-trick in there, if not two there. He had 83 average in there. So 78 minutes. So obviously that injury-affected game did affect his average minutes. He generally played 80. 34 in base. Only 8 in create there, which is, I think, a little bit on the lower side. Definitely scored a lot of tries for a 5'8 as well. And evade was 22. So a lot of offloads, a couple line breaks, and a lot of tackle breaks in there as well. Don't get me wrong, he was freaking hard to handle last year. No absolute doubt about it. But the thing with Fletcher Sharp is we don't even know if he's starting at 5'8 this year. The word around town is Sandon Smith is going to be at 7. Dylan Brown's going to be at 5'8. Where does that put Fletcher Sharp? He's playing in the halves next weekend that we've heard with Sandon Smith. Is he going to be the number 14 for the Knights? Is he going to be starting on the wing for the Knights? We know when he debuted in the NRL, he was actually on the wing. He is actually a winger. He's just so freaking talented. They wanted to get him more ball. Now you got Dylan Brown there. Now you want a game manager like Sandon Smith. You can't have Sharp and Brown in the halves. It's just a lot of bicky for Fletcher Sharp for a guy that you just don't even know where he's going to be fitting into this Knights team. And you need to see how this Knights system actually goes now with Justin Holbrook there, with Dylan Brown there, with Sandon Smith there as well. And if he goes on the wing there, 730k is a lot of bicky there. It's a lot of bicky for a winger to start with, but I think you've got better options. Herbie for a little bit more. Jacob Carraz is there as well. Valentine Holmes is there as well. I think there's definitely better options than a guy like Fletcher Sharp to start the season. So Fletcher Sharp, my second guy to avoid starting for your Supercoach season. All right, to your next one. This is going to be a little bit, controversial, I guess. Hudson Young. Going with a 2RF here, 5.6% owned, 754k. The most expensive 2RF going so far to start the game. Again, coming off a brilliant year for the Raiders, scored a bunch of tries. That 2 tries is definitely not correct. That is a stuff up on my end there. Let's actually have a look to see how many tries he did score last year. Go to my screen. You won't be able to see it, sorry, probably on the side, but let's have a quick look while I've got you live. Hudson Young, this is just on the Supercoach site, as you guys would know. Let's just scroll down to fantasy. You'll see me at the top right corner there. He scored 10 tries for the year, so there you go. He was absolutely brilliant, I thought there. My screen didn't even load there, which is a shame. All good. Very much learning how to do this process in regards to the programming, but absolutely all good there. So Hudson Young, coming off one of the better years, played Origin, 20 games he ended up playing, so he didn't end up playing 4 of them. 10 tries for the season, 77 average. Base is a whole lot, don't get me wrong. He's going to get you a solid amount of base there, 49 in base there. Evade was 19, so ability to offload, ability to tackle break, ability to break through the line there as well was very good on Hudson Young's part. Crate was 4, and main thing is new halves combination with the Raiders there. You got Ethan Strange and probably Ethan Sanders there to start the season there. Again, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. He literally, he scored 2 or 3 hat-tricks in a row. I thought 2 hat-tricks in a row last year. He's got this ability to score tries, right? And don't get me wrong, he can easily go score a try in the first couple of rounds, average you sort of 70, 75. But for me, I guess you're going to find your difference in Supercoach to start the season, where with your cheapies, your guys that you know will actually definitely make cash, to the guys that you know consistently make points. I think in 2 RF position, there's a lot of players in that sort of mid-range that you can definitely start with and be confident they're going to make cash and potentially even have some really good scores there as well. If you are looking for a decent option, I would rather a guy like Dylan Lucas, who's actually like an absolute freaking beast, I reckon, that sort of situation there. Again, you're looking at the half situation for Knights in a similar situation to why I'm avoiding Hudson Young in the situation. 754k, again, a lot of bicky to start with, considering your salary cap is quite lower. Is no one like a higher price that you can trade out yet. I just think you can use that cash better elsewhere with a bit of unknown on how this halves combination is going to work. Raiders, the minor premiers last year as well. I think that is a bit of slight regression, which I think correlates to Hudson Young having a bit of a regression in his score, though. I'm not saying he's going to drop down to like 600k or 500k or anything. I think he'll hang around the 650 sort of k-ish mark. But if you're looking for someone that's going to be able to score 10 tries, average 77 again, I don't know if Hudson Young is quite your guy. I said we saw Dylan Lucas, what he did last year with the Knights finishing wooden spoon, how good he was at the start of the season. I think he is potentially a better option to start with, considering how poor the Knights were. I'm expecting an improvement from them. I'm expecting regression from the Raiders. All right, your next guy on the list. He was a very popular candidate last year, a top-tier CTW. And, I cannot pick this guy generally. Ruben Garrick, 664k there on the right wing for the Manly Seagulls this year. And my story last year with Ruben Garrick, I did start with Ruben Garrick. He's awesome to have. And then I wanted to make a little bit sort of a move. I started really well, and I sort of kind of wanted to downgrade, I think, in a situation. I think I went to like Alamotti or something, and just to spend a little bit more cash elsewhere to try and boost to other positions. So I started to trade out Ruben Garrick. That week, I believe he was actually playing the Raiders, and I thought Raiders, bit of a tough one, good defense. He went and scored 4 tries. Went and scored 4 tries, put up about 150, and absolutely killed my Sunday afternoon and killed my week. And yeah, I was just an absolute shitstorm that was. And it's just, I was just in tears. No, I wasn't in tears, but 664k, 7.5% owned to start the year, averaged 68 last year from 21 games, scored 12 tries on the wing for Manly last year, and that's only obviously take away the 4 from that one game. There's 8 tries from the other 20 games. So it's not a massive strike rate for a guy like Ruben Garrick. He was a guy that was sort of between center and a lot of wing last year, but he should be definitely on the wing, or even in centers, I guess. Depends where they put Lehigh and then where they put Turbo, that kind of thing. When they did move Turbo to center last year, he did go on the wing there. Lehigh went to fullback. Sounds like Tommy Turbo will be fullback this year as he's captain there. Maybe Ruben Garrick does move into that center, which actually I don't like as much there. 31 in base, which is not terrific there. Evade was 15, not too bad. Crate was 4, so I said he's kind of dependent on his goal kicking, which we haven't even confirmed if it's Jamal Fogarty or Ruben Garrick goal kicking this year. I would assume it's Ruben Garrick he holds on to it, but with Jamal Fogarty come in, definitely a trial watch on that sort of part there. I don't think the Manly Seagulls will be that crash hot this year as well. I think they've obviously started the year off with 3 home games. Then you've got a round 3 bye. New Supercoach, guys, first price changes happened after the players plays 3 games as well. So you won't get a Manly price change for a player until after that Roosters game there. But you think that's a hard one to start with against the Raiders to start off there. Then the Knights, I don't know how, it might be a better opportunity. But again, early on in the season, then you got the bye, and then you got the Roosters there as well. I just think it's a bit of a tricky start. And then you got to go on the road to the Dolphins, who, not good defense last year, but should be improved. And then you got to go on the road to the Dragons, which they don't seem to have a good record against the Dragons early on the season. That early bye really is off-putting there. And you don't want to stack your team up with too many sort of Manly players that are on the bye in that first 3 rounds. Tommy Turbo's probably the main Manly guy that you're going to start with early this season. I don't think I've got any Manly players in my squad to start the year. People looking at Jake Simpkin as well. That's not as bad because he's a bit cheaper, but 664k. You're looking at Karaz for a little bit more. You're looking at Brian To'o, a really good option. You're looking at a guy like Tamale, a little bit cheaper there. I think there's some really good options there. Like maybe you want a Kayal Iro, a little bit more for like a guy that's going to score a lot of tries in that center position as well. So Ruben Garrick, he hurt me last year. He burned me last year. But I do think this year, a bit of regression from Manly. I don't think they'll be that great. I think he is definitely a trap to start the 2026 Supercoach season. All right, I've got a couple Dolphins players actually start off the season. And you'll wonder why I have doing a couple Dolphins ones. And the first one I've got is Izzy Katoa. And don't get me wrong, I love this kid, right? Izzy Katoa is the man. He's the absolute guy. He's going to be awesome in the future. He's awesome now, but he's going to be more awesome in the future for the Fish. I think he potentially can be a New South Wales half in the future. I think it's unbelievable what he's been able to do for the Dolphins and for Tonga already. Halfback position only. So you're ruling the likes out of, you're probably starting him over instead of Cleary, Hines. You're probably having Katoa and another cheapie. Maybe you put him there in your flex or something. But Izzy Katoa there, 639k, 7% owned to start the season. Halfback only, averaged 65 last year in the 24 games there. And the big thing for me with the Dolphins is they had the best attack all of last year. And he was a resounding part of that attack there as well, averaging that 65. Dolphins had the best attack in, was it nearly 10 years of the NRL, I believe. They scored over 700 points for the season. They racked up 50 points a couple times in a game. They were unbelievable on attack. They were unbelievable. But generally, that means the next year you have to see some regression. You can't just back up 700 points with another 700-point season. Even then, if they do back it up, he's going to average about the same, right? Like, you got to think this was the best attack in the comp last year, and he averaged 65 last year in this attack. Scored 2 tries, played every single game. Base of 26. Base for a halfback is not something you generally look for. Not even goal kicking as well. Create was 32, so he created a lot of tries, but he's not a try scorer in the halfback position there. Innovate was 8 there. You look at their start to the season, you got Souths at home, which is, I would say, a bit of a tricky matchup. You got Titans at home, probably a bit of an advantage. Then you got to go on the road to the Sharkies, and then you got the Brisbane Derby there, and then you got to go play Manly there as well, and then you've got to bye. Just don't think it's the nicest draw to start the season there. And as I said, it all goes back to the fact that the Dolphins had the best attack last year out of any team in the comp. Even though they missed the 8, best attack in the comp. He averaged 65. His price is based off his average last year. And yeah, he's just a little bit overvalued overpriced to start the season for me, in my opinion there. If you're looking at someone like Izzy Katoa, you want him to be averaging close to that 70 plus. And that is banking on the fact that he's going to be more involved in the attack and scoring a lot more tries, creating a lot more tries. But that means Dolphins have to score more points. There's a lot of backline players on that Dolphins team that can have the ability to score points, like your Hammer. Cody Nikarima is really good as well. JMK in there as well. You got Herbie obviously on the left. Then you got Cobbo there on the left wing there as well. I'm probably picking Herbie's going to have more assists this year to Cobbo. Maybe Izzy Katoa gets more try contributions, but try contributions are only worth like 4 points. So it's not the most really. Just think Izzy Katoa, bit of a trap to start the season. I definitely think you can look at better options in your halfback option. Maybe with a Sammy Walker, but again, unknown in that halfback spot with DCE. Maybe you can pay up for Nico Hines. Maybe you can go down to Mitch Moses as well. Maybe you want to pay up for Nathan Cleary. I just think there's better options than Izzy Katoa to start the season. All right, moving on to the next Dolphins player and PSA. I announced him last week that he was actually in my starting team last year as my fullback. But we have heard a bit of news now to start the season. That is going to be Trey Fuller. And the main thing with Trey Fuller is it sounds like the rumors out of Dolphins training so far preseason is he will not be starting at fullback to start the season. I repeat, he will not be starting. There's a lot of rumors that he was going to be, while we thought he'd be fullback, Hammer would be center. That would push Avarillo out of the team because you're probably looking at Asako on the right wing and Herbie and Cobbo on the left side. But it does sound like they're going to go with Hammer to start the season at fullback there. Keep Avarillo there on the right side in the right center with Asako next to him there. Very similar team to how they started last year, which I don't blame them, right? Christian Rolfe now in his second year. Best attack in the comp last year. The main thing is they just have to improve the defense. I absolutely love Trey Fuller. All the numbers there, actually, if you look on the screen, point towards Trey Fuller as a buy, and that's why I was actually in my starting team. But if you're watching this now, I'm just letting you know, Trey Fuller will most likely, I'm very 95% sure, will not be starting the NRL season there. Once he gets there, 100%, I definitely think he's worth a buy, 100%. But he's not starting there. Hammer will be there at fullback to start the season for the Dolphins. All right, that's number 6 player. Moving on to our last player, and this is kind of a little bit freaky, I guess, but I do think there is better options there. What was he, the top try scorer last year? And that is going to be Mark Nawaqanitawase there from the Roosters. 10.7% owned, which I think is quite a lot at $735K. You think someone like Karaz is the same price there. Valentine Holmes, a goal kick at the same price there. Mark Nawaqanitawase, first starting year for the Roosters last year. First full season. Going back to rugby next year, does that change anything? I don't think so. I wouldn't bank on it too much there. The main thing to Mark is he literally scored 23 tries last year. Averaged 75 from 22 games there. You're thinking 23 tries in 22 games. You're pretty much, that's over a try, literally a try a game. You're pretty much needing the exact same thing to happen to even equate worth buying him, which looking at 23 tries, is he going to score 23 tries again? Yes, it's definitely possible, 100%. But again, the unknown. How is this Roosters attack going to look with Sammy Walker and DCE in the halves there, plus Reece Robson there in the number 9 jersey there as well? Do they give Teddy a bit more ball? Do the Sammy Walker run it a bit more? You just don't know. I don't know if they'll be playing in the trials. You need to see it first before he's worth a buy. I think he'll lose a bit of cash to start the season there. I think they've got a tough draw to start there. You've got the buy there in round 5, so I think potentially round 6. He's lost a bit of cash. I definitely think he's definitely a bit of eyes looking at. But 75 average, and he scored over a try a game, which I think is unbelievable. Only 26 in base, so he's not going to be a guy that's going to score you a lot of a lot of tries. Not going to get you a lot of meters at the back half there. Ave was 28, which is where, along with the tries, got a lot of his points. Line breaks, tackle breaks, offload there as well. We know he tries to offload wherever he can. Does it come off again? He was unbelievable last year. Scored some freakish tries. But that's the thing. He scored some freakish tries. Does that come off again for Mark Nawaqanitawase in 2026? I'm just not quite sure. You 100% need to see the combo and how this works with Tedesco, DCE, Sammy Walker, and Reece Robson before you can consider, for me, making a purchase there for that amount of money. As I said, you've got Jacob Karaz there, same price. You've got Valentine Holmes, same price there as well. You could potentially spend up a little bit more for Herbie, who Herbie averages base around 50. So on average, his worst game last year, I think Herbie was in the 40s. You think if Mark just has a base of 26, doesn't get too much ball, maybe they go to Tupou a lot on the left wing there, he's going to end up with definitely a lower score for sure in that Roosters team. So 735k, you'd be relying on tries literally every single week for me in that spot there. Not saying he can't do it. It's just I don't want to be banking on a winger to score a try every week just to match up with the price and what they are actually worth. Again, you got Karaz, good base. Herbie, good base. Valentine Holmes, goal kicker as well. Just think there's a lot better options in that CTW sort of range there that you can actually have than a guy like Mark Nwangeni-Tuwase. Again, if he drops cash, you can definitely get one of your cheapies that has made cash or that mid-range that's made cash and definitely do like a straight swap. That's definitely the goal in the future when it comes to these guys here. But there's always a couple high-priced players to start the season that will start really high, and just because of how their last season went, will just have high break-evens and they'll just slowly drop cash, and then you've got to find where that matchup is good. Warriors away, really tough matchup to start the season there. Souths are home. We know the Souths are going to turn up for that sort of game. Panthers with good defense. Then you got Manly on the road. Then you've got a bye there. So you're only going to get one price change from this Roosters guy in 5 rounds before you get to Sharkies on the road there. Just is a really tough start, I think. Tough draw to start. The Roosters draw will get a little bit easier throughout the season. I definitely think there's going to be periods throughout the season where you can definitely buy him. He's probably not going to be selected for Origin there because he's going to the Wallabies at the end of this year there. And yeah, I just think there's a lot better buys. I really do. So Mark Nwangeni-Tuwase, great player. Definitely an avoid for me to start the season. But that will do it for me, guys. Nice, short and sweet episode here. 7 guys to avoid starting the season with there. So hopefully the presentation looks good. It took me fucking ages to set up there. But hopefully getting all the graphics set up, rolling through, all the 7 players there, hopefully it looked okay. I think my screen stuffed up, like showing you one of the players' stats. That's all good though. I'll figure that out. But thank you so much for watching. The support I've got from the trade room early on has been unbelievable. So I'll be back. I'm probably going to film another episode literally like now as we speak and release it sometime during next week. My guys, I will definitely be starting with. Then we're going to have a look at the cheapies as well. And then maybe we look at positional analysis as well. But the season is definitely upon us. So freaking keen. Analysis of how the preseason went with the trials. Does that affect any sort of Supercoach positions at all? Generally always does, but I'll be here to give you all that analysis. Guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been the Trade Room, and cheers.